Dear students, welcome to Pathology. For the first year pages, part 2. I hope you people have some idea whatsoever about the course. It is a 36-month course wherein these are the following postings. The students will be interchangeably posted in histopathology, hematology, cytology, clinical pathology, autopsy, blood bank, as well as ancillary postings such as biochemistry, microbiology, or any other. This is the actual set of postings that you people will have to undergo. A nice saying whatsoever, don't give up what you want most for what you want now. Obviously, you people want to get a post-graduation, but then your ultimate aim should be to become a good pathologist. And in the process, you should remember your institute, your department, your laboratory, as well as other departments and other institutes. The path in PATH. Look at the D's over here. Duration, division, designation, departments, diagnosis, demonstration, dissertation, duty, delivery. I hope I have found enough D's for you people. Remember these. But don't deviate from it. Again, another set of D's. Please do remember that there is no shortcuts to attain the top. This is a nice homework that I had done based on the postgraduate postings that we are following in our institute. This is a unit where you will be posted the period and the comments whatsoever. Histopathology usually is for a period of 12 months. Hematology about 6, clinical pathology 4 months. All these are slightly variable. Cytology another 6 months. Certain institutes have got immunohistochemistry. These may be either internal or external for 15 days. Autopsy, again 15 days to 1 month. This, all the red letters indicate an external posting. We, for example, when we were postgraduate students, we are posted in Grant Medical College in Bombay for autopsy. Blood banking, 1 to 2 months. Microbiology, biochemistry, etc., they are all extra departmental. Belong to another department, but then today the pathologist is going to rule the roost in the laboratory. There might be optional postings, not exceeding a period of 1 month. And we, on our part, had a chance of visiting the Adyar Cancer Hospital. This can be any other department or institute as chosen by yours. Thesis period, sometimes some departments are liberal to give the students a period of 1 month. So this can again be considered an internal posting or sometimes interdepartmental or even external, depending on your thesis. There can be some extraordinary postings which we cannot deny or defy. For example, there was a COVID posting which had taken the previous postgraduates in all departments to task. Almost 1.5 years had been on this, and they had done a laborious task in this. Blood bank is another one. These postings are not in a chronological order, but then let us know what it is. Transfusion medicine by itself is a separate branch and a separate study now. Lucknow, for example, has got a very large institute of transfusion medicine. The structure of the blood bank, we people should know. The license, the licensing authority is not the Medical Council of India or the National Medical Council. It is a separate unit. You need qualified personnel for the blood bank. such as the blood bank officer, trained staff nurse, technicians, so on and so forth. The request form in the blood bank we should be aware of. And ledgers are of paramount importance because all will have to be entered wherever it is. And blood itself can be transfused in the form of whole blood or components. Screening of the donors is of great importance because there is an entity called the professional donors, people who come and give blood for money. And along with that, they give the various diseases such as HIV, so on and so forth. So this is a blood bank. And look at this label. Wherever it is, you people will have to observe. So what is the group is mentioned, probably the date of collection and the date of expiry, etc. will be mentioned. And there will be a number which will indicate the donor. The central laboratory, again, it is a golden yardstick in pathology. Nowadays, the trend is to have the entire laboratory under one roof, as we are seeing. And this, of course, is probably one unit of the laboratory. Similarly, there can be microbiology, biochemistry, so on and so forth, along with the collection center. And the idea is to have enough amount of moving space. The work tables will have to be well planned so as the sink and other things. There will be very costly gadgets will be running to several crores of rupees, sometimes costlier than the building itself. So this will be the central laboratory, an area which we can never avoid, rather we shall be living here. The art of the needle. I'm just showing a few slides to indicate the importance of which. This is a procedure of fine needle aspiration. A patient has got a swelling over here, a needle is put, gloves are being worn, the swelling is immobilized, and the contents are being expressed onto a slide, smears are made, and they'll be put in a fixative. The bread and butter of pathology. This is the histopathology laboratory, and the diagnosis shall depend totally on this instrument and the person behind the instrument, the microtome. Look at the ribbon sections. You find that one section is being attached to another. These we call as ribbon sections. And in histopathology, there is something called as grossing of the specimens, processing, section cutting, staining, inclusive of special stains, frozen sections, immunohistochemistry, screening, reporting. These are all various entities which we shall be coming across, contributing, as well as deriving knowledge from. Histopathology. Apart from this, there are some must-haves for an MD. If you want to get your MD, what all should you have completed? You should have the attendance as prescribed. 75 to 80% is what is prescribed by some universities, but I would rather say let it not be less than 90%. You cannot have a maternity leave as well as complete MD. It is not probable, and this percentage should be for each academic year and not in total. Therefore, taking leave once and trying to make up towards end is not feasible. There should be completion of the postings as prescribed. In the first slide, I had shown you the list of postings. At each unit, you will have to have a completion certificate. These all will be entered in a logbook, which will be signed by the head of the department and the concerned unit chiefs. Completion of thesis. This actually is supposed to be a nightmare, but not so. The purpose of the thesis is to expose or introduce the student to a research process. He has to go search for the various journals, accumulate the material, collect the material that is again needed for his thesis work, such as a tissue block or fluid, so on, process it and complete his work. And ultimately, he has to compile and then present his thesis. What the National Medical Council now insists is, you people will have to publish at least one paper in a recognized journal before you go for the MD examination. This is mandatory, without which we will not be allowed to sit for the examination. And any other thing as expected from the institute. For example, the COVID postings. Nobody can say that I will not go for a COVID posting and yet do it. It is a compulsion, it is an expectation from the government, the central government and the state government, as well as the institutes where we are working. Acceptance by the dean and university. They have got the right to accept or even deny. So we cannot make everything a matter of right. And definitely a pass in the university exam will be mandatory. But for us to sit at the university exam, all these will have to be fulfilled. Rules appear somewhat crude, but then some rules are nothing but old habits that people are afraid to change. This will not be changed, at least until you people finish your post-graduation. Desirable. Apart from the compulsory rules, these are the other things which I would appreciate if you people can develop. Active participation in the departmental programs. There will be various programs and each institute has got its own golden yardsticks. For example, in some institutes, there will be enough amount of slides, whereas in others, the teaching material will be adequate. Interdepartmental meetings. So pathology is not just pathology alone. In fact, it forms the fulcrum of the medical curriculum. Therefore, we will be closely knitted to urology, radiology, anatomy, microbiology, biochemistry, and so on, medicine, surgery. And all this will reflect in some kind of active participation in the academic meetings and the clinical society meetings, which will be conducted by any institute at periodic intervals. Death audit meeting is something again, which is supposed to be a retrospection on the cause of death of a patient, how it could have been avoided, so on. And in this, the pathologist plays a vital role. Participation in internal competitions as well as extra institutional competitions. It can be a quiz competition or a competition in poster and paper presentation, etc. Presentation of papers, presentation of posters. Teaching the undergraduate students. So this is very important. In fact, you are supposed to be trained as a teacher. Towards the end of your exam, there will be one session wherein you conduct the class and the examiners will be assessing you as a teacher. Teaching the postgraduates. Not only your colleagues and classmates, but as you people become seniors, it will be your responsibility to teach the juniors also. To my knowledge, I feel that 75 to 80% of the knowledge derived by a postgraduate is from his senior. So this is of great importance. Desirable, it is mentioned as, but I feel that this will be more logical and compulsory than the previous list. So have the courage of your desire. So you people should be able to work for your goal. The diagnostic responsibility. We would have heard of this book. I had shown you something about the final diagnosis. So there is a diagnostic responsibility. Leave alone making a diagnosis after studying a slide. These are things that we people should be familiar from day one. What is the request form from the clinician or the surgeon? What are the details of the patient? Has he undergone any surgery or treatment earlier? What is the specimen that we have got? Is it a nephrectomy specimen or just a renal biopsy? What is the procedure that has been followed? Is it a frozen section or is it a routine surgery? Or sometimes it can come as an emergency surgery in the event of a splenic injury. Examination of the specimen. You will have to examine the whole specimen, making the diagnosis, and finally having the reports typed, dispatching them, and following it up also. Generally, we will be having a copy of it in our own department for later follow-up. Similarly, some departments will be desiring that they also be given a copy. The Department of Oncology or Surgery, sometimes Pediatrics, would like to have a copy of the report. These are things that should be discussed with the department and followed accordingly. So it is a specimen of the kidney over here. There is some kind of tumor that is invading the capsule, so on. and whether it is involving the ureter or the renal vein has to be studied. Look at this. This is a normal specimen over here, and then there is a tumor also. So all will have to be sampled. It is an art. Grossing itself is an art. We shall be coming to this repeatedly. Measuring the specimen, weighing the specimen, all these matter. Your responsibility as a postgraduate is reflected here. Look at this one. The process of grossing. Grossing means sampling of the tissue is going on, and it is a very meticulous, laborious, delicate process. In fact, you are half a surgeon here. You find that multiple bits have been taken from a tissue, whatever be it. And look at this one, they have numbered it also. So this numbering is of paramount importance, and some people, they also draw a diagram and denote from where each one has been taken. So this will be of great importance. And the moment a bit is given, they are coloring the area and they may be putting it in formalin so that the processing goes on. Labeling is important, numbering, marking, etc. Because once you cut, only your number matters, nothing else. It has got no name or address. And the notes also you people will have to take. What is going to be the size of the specimen, size of the tumor, and from where the bits have been given. All this will appear very laborious, but then you don't have to see the whole staircase. All that you people will have to do is take the first step, and it will be leading you further. Delivering a lecture, as I told you, all the slides are not in a sequential order. Delivering a lecture, ultimately this might matter most. There are various methods of teaching, but then still I prefer a lecture in a podium. So this is a podium over here, and there is a huge lecture hall. Many participants are there. It might be your students, or you might be delivering a lecture in a conference or whatsoever. So you should be prepared for it, develop the skill and the vocabulary, and how to handle the various audiovisual aids, how to face the public or the participants. What are you going to see on the screen, and so on. These will have to be very well rehearsed, and this is one of the basic ideas why you people are being exposed to undergraduate teaching. Have more than you show. Speak less than you know. A nice quote. So we should not be a loose tongue which keeps on blabbering something. Balancing the needs. I told you, or I gave you an example of a huge lecture hall, but then this is also it. In the medical education department, we call it as a small group teaching. Each of you will be a mentor for a small group of students, maybe 10 or so, and you are supposed to teach them, follow their records, and indicate what they are supposed to see under the microscope, how to describe a gross specimen, etc. And you are supposed to kindle the interest in all the students by means of an interaction. We are doing a lot of things, starting from the grossing of the specimen, doing an FNAC, conducting a class, so on and so forth. And the secret of life is finding the right balance between all that you people do. Your goal should be to strive for a continuous improvement instead of perfection. Do not try to be perfect. In fact, it is impossible. Even at the age of 60 plus, I'm still learning. So you should be open to that. Never have an idea. Even the greatest of authors, Robbins or Ackerman, cannot master pathology, could not have mastered pathology. So can you not. So strive for a continuous improvement instead of perfection. Continuous small improvement is another word that I have added. Do the small things properly, and the big things will take care of themselves. This class on the introduction shall be continued. Please do feel free to offer your comments. I expect this very much. so that I would be able to proceed in the right direction. Bienvenue.